Everyone's talking about Ross, but what really went down when he walked out on 85 South isn't what you think. Secret parties, blurred footage, and receipts that could change everything. Stick around, because what you're about to see exposes the hidden side of hip-hop that only a few get to witness, and it's wild. Everyone was showing love for free, but Ross, well, Ross got caught in a little storm. Let's break it down. First off, Ross didn't mean to make it a big deal when he left that 85 South interview early. He called DC and the crew his little homies, but actions speak louder than words. Here's the thing, Ross is now firing back at DC Young Fly after Young Fly dropped receipts about secret industry rituals with Jonathan Oddie. Suddenly, what seemed like casual drama is starting to look like something much deeper. Podcast walkouts, secret foam parties, all-white vibes. It all starts to click. Remember those wild 2018 claims about Ross and Diddy? Things just escalated from minor rumors to a full-on mess. It all began when Ross walked out on 85 South. For those who might not know, 85 South is a legendary comedy and hip-hop commentary squad made up of DC Young Fly, Carlos Miller, and Chico Bean. These guys aren't just funny. They're deeply respected in the culture for blending humor with sharp insight into music and street life. Their platform has been a launching pad for discussions that matter, giving artists like Ross a stage to connect with fans in a casual, real way. Ross came in cool, relaxed, laughing, and joking. He was vibing about music, life, the grind, the usual mix of storytelling and playful banter that makes 85 South so engaging. At first, everything was smooth. He was charming, confident, and seemingly untouchable. The crew and the audience were feeling it. Everything was set for a memorable conversation. A moment where Ross could show a side of himself that fans rarely see. Then it happened. Mid-interview, Ross said he needed to take off his jacket and step away to hit the bathroom. Simple enough, right? Except instead of returning moments later, he vanished. No warning, no heads up. He didn't signal that he was leaving for good, he just disappeared. DC Young Fly sat there blinking, clearly shocked and hurt, while Carlos and Chico exchanged confused looks, silently asking themselves, did that really just happen? The energy in the room shifted immediately. Seconds earlier, everyone was laughing, vibing, and enjoying the flow. Within moments, the atmosphere became tense, awkward, and heavy. What should have been a light, fun conversation turned into a moment loaded with unspoken questions. Fans watching the clip later could feel it, the sudden break in rhythm, the pause, the unease. The chemistry on camera that had been natural and flowing now felt disrupted. This wasn't just a minor interruption. In hip-hop and comedy, respect is everything. Walking out like that sends a message, intentional or not, about how you value the people giving you a platform. DC and the team had welcomed Ross with open arms, given him space to tell his story. And Ross' disappearance instantly reframed the dynamic. What was supposed to be a moment of connection suddenly raised questions. Was it a lapse? Was it a statement? Was it disrespect? And from that moment on, everything that followed, the social media reactions, memes, and ongoing speculation was colored by this single, unforgettable walkout. DC didn't hold back. He called Ross' move what it looked like to everyone watching, straight up disrespectful. And to be honest, it wasn't hard to see why. 85 South isn't just a random podcast or a casual online show, it's a platform built on culture, hip-hop, and community. For years, DC Young Fly, Carlos Miller, and Chico Bean have cultivated a space where artists, comedians, and fans can connect authentically. They've supported big names, given them a platform for free, and in return, built credibility and trust. Ross walking out mid-interview wasn't just awkward, it struck at the heart of that respect. Social media reacted instantly. Clips of the walkout went viral. Fans debated the motives. Memes exploded across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. People couldn't stop talking. The backlash wasn't just about a missing jacket or a sudden bathroom break. It was about what that disappearance represented. In hip-hop, gestures matter as much as words. And leaving like that on a platform that's been supporting you since day one felt like a violation to many. DC, visibly hurt, spoke openly about it, making it clear that respect and loyalty aren't optional, they're expected, especially in spaces that have been foundational for the culture. Ross later tried to smooth things over. On The Breakfast Club, he explained that he was smoked out and caught up in the moment, and didn't realize he had left abruptly. He insisted that there was no disrespect intended, calling the 85 South crew his homies and expressing love for the platform. While some fans accepted that explanation, others weren't convinced. Actions often speak louder than words. And this particular action vanishing mid-interview was hard to overlook. The controversy grew when hours later, Ross appeared on a different podcast for a nearly 2-hour interview. There, he answered every question without hesitation, navigated tough topics with ease, and maintained composure from start to finish. That's when people started asking the questions that social media never stops asking. If Ross could sit for 2 hours on a different show, why couldn't he do the same with his own people, the team that welcomed him without hesitation, supported him without asking for payment, and gave him a real platform to connect with fans? The contrast was stark, and it fueled the narrative. Fans and insiders began connecting dots, speculating about intention, priorities, and loyalty. What seemed like a small walkout quickly grew into a discussion about respect, reputation, and the subtle power dynamics that run through hip-hop. And, just like that, a brief moment on 85 South became a cultural flashpoint, remembered, discussed, and dissected long after the cameras stopped rolling. Excuses about scheduling conflicts or flights didn't convince DC or the crew. The walkout became symbolic about respect, loyalty, and the subtle power plays in hip-hop. Fans weren't just laughing anymore. They were questioning how a big name like Ross could treat a platform that's been supporting him from the start. Looking back, the relaxed vibes, jokes, and laughs set up a stark contrast to his sudden disappearance. The tension was palpable, even if no one knew why at the time. When DC later dropped those blurred party clips and receipts, it all made sense. And here's another layer. Big names like T, Snoop Dogg, Boosie, and Busta Rhymes all came through 85 South for free. They respected the platform, its culture, and the work behind it. Ross, not so much. DC noticed how the industry had changed him. Loyalty and respect sometimes took a back seat to moves that protect his empire. In short, Ross' walkout wasn't just awkward, it was telling. The timing, the behavior, and the later receipts all reveal a bigger story about power, culture, and what it really means to respect the people who build the stage you stand on. This was never about a jacket or a bathroom break. It was about how the industry can twist people. And with all these leaked ritual receipts, blurred party clips, and Jonathan Audi's old statements resurfacing, it's becoming obvious that Ross has been moving in a world where secrecy and power matter more than respect. DC's reaction didn't just call out disrespect, it cracked open a bigger conversation about what really goes down behind the scenes in hip-hop. And that's where things get interesting. DC didn't stop at calling Ross out. He dropped a blurred clip that shook the internet. And this wasn't your average pool party. This was an all-white, foam-covered private event at Ross Mansion with NDAs, no phones, and strict rules just to get inside. No recording, no posting, no evidence. Everything about the setup screamed, "What happens here does not leave here." Ross had even posted a friendly video promoting his slippery soap and teasing another pool party for fans. But then DC drops a mysterious, blurred clip from a private event at the same estate right after Ross hyped up his public one. That timing made everyone raise their eyebrows. Why drop this now? Why leak it right after Ross flexed another event? When you put the pieces together, it becomes clear this was more than a party. The NDAs, the no phone rule, the dress code, the secrecy, they hint at something deeper. Exclusive circles, industry rituals, quiet agreements, power dynamics hidden behind bright lights and bubbles. That's what DC was really pointing to. Not one party, not one walkout, but the lengths Ross goes to maintain control and keep his world locked tight behind closed doors. And honestly, none of this is brand new. We saw hints of it before, starting with Jonathan Audi. Back in 2018, Audi made headlines for storming Trump National Doral and firing shots. But the chaos wasn't what people remembered. It was the accusations he made afterward. He claimed Ross and Diddy were involved in secret rituals, private parties, strict contracts, NDAs, and even mind game situations. He mentioned Cassie. He mentioned circles of influence. It all sounded insane back then. People laughed, called him unstable, dismissed everything. But now, with Diddy locked up, ugly party footage surfacing, and details leaking left and right, people are looking back at Audi's words like, hold up, was he telling the truth? Because that blurred foam party clip from Ross' estate, that's exactly the kind of thing Audi described years ago. Put Ross invite only, rule-heavy private parties next to Audi's claims, and suddenly they line up a little too neatly. These events aren't about fun or showing off. And that's why people say this whole situation feels like a witch hunt, because the more receipts come out, the less any of it looks like a joke. Zoom out, and it gets even clearer. Ross and Diddy go way back. and their connection goes deeper than music. Collaborations, business ties, exclusive events, they move in the same elite spaces. And those spaces are always wrapped in secrecy. The clips DC leaked white outfits, NDAs, no phones. Strict rules make the whole thing feel like a curated world where only chosen people get inside. And everything is tightly controlled. When you watch those clips, the vibe is just strange, uncomfortable, like something important is hidden right under the surface. Then you remember Audi's claims, and suddenly the questions get louder. What's really happening at these parties? Why the secrecy? Why the end? And why does everything look like a ritual instead of a celebration? That's the world DC was trying to shine a light on, one blurred clip at a time. Jonathan, Audi wasn't joking when he talked about secret rituals, NDAs, strict contracts, and controlled environments involving Diddy and Ross. Back then, people laughed it off. But now, with clips like DC Young Fly's blurred foam party footage, it all starts to make sense. The puzzle pieces are coming together, and the bigger picture is terrifying. And now, we have to talk about the real fallout. Diddy the mogul, the kingpin of Bad Boy, the man who built an empire, is facing the consequences of what went down behind the scenes. This year, he found himself in federal court in New York on sex trafficking and related charges. After months of drama, he was acquitted of some major counts, like racketeering, conspiracy, but convicted on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. Those aren't small charges. Mann Act violations carry serious weight. Diddy didn't get bail because of his prior domestic violence history, so he went straight into pretrial detention. When sentencing came down on October 3, 2025, he was hit with 50 months in federal prison, 5 years of supervised release, and a $500,000 fine. That's over 4 years behind bars, and it's already been rough inside. He's in rehab programs, working in the chapel. But make no mistake, this is a massive fall from grace for someone who once ruled hip-hop culture. These charges didn't come from nowhere. Allegations from Cassie and another victim, combined with claims about the Combs enterprise, painted a picture of coercion, intimidation, and exploitation. Even though Diddy admitted to some wrongdoing, his conviction confirms the system held him accountable. This isn't a headline scandal, it's real consequences with long-term effects on his career, legacy, and influence. And this is where Ross comes into the picture. These guys move in the same circles. All those secretive parties, NDAs, and controlled environments. If federal investigators dig deeper, Ross could easily get swept up in the same storm. Fans are already watching him closely. Could history repeat itself? Could Ross face the same kind of scrutiny? The tension is real. The lesson is simple. No one is untouchable. All the private parties, hidden deals, and behind-the-scenes maneuvers can come back to bite you. Diddy's downfall is a warning shot. Power and influence only protect you for so long. Ross has been careful, controlling his narrative, but the same rules apply. If the receipts fully surface, his legacy could be tested in ways the public is only beginning to imagine. That's why this saga, the Ross walkout, DC Young Fly calling him out. The blurred party clips is more than just entertainment. It's a rare look at how the elite operate, and what happens when the game finally catches up to you. And let's be honest, secret celebrity events aren't new. Hollywood and the music world have been running invite-only, NDA-heavy, no-phone gatherings for years. But when Ross and Diddy throw these parties, the stakes are much higher. These aren't casual underground get-togethers. They're A-list events full of power players, business deals, and cultural influence. Every move is calculated, every invitation matters, and every leak could shift the narrative. In today's world, every little slip can go viral in seconds. Take the blurred foam party clip. DC Young Fly shared it with all its NDAs, all-white dress codes, and strict no-phone rules. It immediately screams controlled environment. Fans didn't just watch, they paused, zoomed in, and looked for clues. Unique bracelets, how guests moved, tiny interactions. Everyone was trying to decode the secret world Ross and Diddy operate in. And that's the problem with secrecy at this level. High profile and hidden automatically sparks suspicion. Look at Diddy. He's already paying the price. Federal prison, public backlash, intense legal scrutiny. It's proof that elite circles have limits, and crossing them comes with consequences. Ross could face the same energy if he isn't careful. Now consider his legacy. The 85 South walkout, the blurred foam party, Audi's wild claims, they all add up. Fans and insiders are starting to see him as slippery, disrespectful, maybe even shady. In hip-hop, perception is everything. The industry moves fast, and social media never forgets. A single leak, One viral clip can make people question your collaborations, brand deals, and influence. DC calling Ross out publicly didn't help, it fueled the story even more. Ross could have controlled the narrative with transparency, but instead, the speculation keeps growing. Walkouts, secret parties, high-profile allegations, they all start to connect doubt. Now everyone's asking, is Ross just playing the game hard, or is there something bigger he's hiding? Legacy isn't just about music or money, it's about respect, credibility, and influence. Right now, Ross is walking a tightrope. DC's clips shake up his image. Social media amplifies every rumor. Insiders are watching closely. One more leak, one more twist, and the story could blow up. Ross could remain untouchable, a respected legend. Or he could be framed as someone who got too close to the edge. Someone whose secrecy and shady vibes overshadowed decades of work. The stakes couldn't be higher. His next moves will decide whether he stays untouchable or becomes a cautionary tale in hip-hop. And with the witch hunt energy building, every clip, post, and hint of secrecy could tip the scales.